Hello, everybody. Welcome to the PanelCast. I am your host this week, AJ. With me this week is Mr. Richard Duran. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
He's Italian this week. We should be having hoagies and pizza and spaghetti. Now I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. Was just gonna say that.
And in this episode, we will be discussing. I went and saw Furiosa, which is Furiosa, not Furiosa. Okay, for those Harry Potter fans, you have to know how to pronounce it. And we're also going to be telling you how we.
I was thrown off for a second. I was like, "What are you talking about?" Got it.
That's right. You have to be in the know. We're also going to be explaining to you how we, as perfectly healthy specimens, celebrate Men's Mental Health Month. Because we're okay. And we'll be talking to you how we use our toy therapy to help us through these times and stuff like that. So, yeah. What do you want to start with?
Let's start off with Furiosa because you saw it and I'm curious how it was.
So I went and saw Furiosa, which is the newest addition to the Mad Max saga. I guess that's what they're calling it. George R. Miller decided to come out. George R. Miller? What am I saying? Anyway, well, first off, T-Villain, hello. Legend of Zombie. Sponsorship, hello.
That'd be great.
It is the newest addition to the Mad Max saga. And it was the first one to center around someone other than Mad Max himself. And while the film does show Mad Max for the briefest of moments, it doesn't actually have anything to do with him.
Who played Mad Max?
I can't tell you.
Oh. Spoiler.
No, surprise.
Same thing.
Anyway, now I'm going to lose my train of thought, sir. It centers more around the character of Furiosa, who was this time portrayed by Anya Taylor-Joy, who originally was portrayed by Charlize Theron. Now, they decided to do a prequel with Anya Taylor-Joy because George Miller is not a fan of de-aging via CGI, and also because, the infamous not really getting along with the co-star issue that they had between Charlize and Tom Hardy during the filming of Fury Road. So,
de-aging via CGI looks stupid.
Right. They didn't want to have another, Professor X Magneto issue. So instead, they went with Anya Taylor-Joy and did this film. Personally, I thought the movie was awesome. I thought it was Mad Max-esque. I thought they, cinematography-wise, they nailed it as far as Fury Road-esque and like goes. Everything you saw in Fury Road, you get right back into with this film. I thought it was great in that aspect. Story-wise, normally when you see a Mad Max movie, the movie takes place over 2 days, 3 days, maybe a week. This is the first one to take place at the birth of the character and following up into their entire life until the point that we actually meet them. And that's where this film takes you to, even through the post-credit films, up until the point of where Fury Road starts.
Oh, nice.
So, it fills that gap. So if you're interested in that timeline, it's a great film for you.
So it's a full backstory.
It's a full-on backstory from A to Z. However, if you're not interested in that backstory, then you really don't give a shit about this crap about this film, and you really shouldn't see it. I personally got bored because I was burnt out with the characters by the time halfway through the movie. Not because there's anything wrong with them or anything. I like Mad Max, and I want to see Max. And I wasn't really interested in Furiosa. And so I guess I was hopeful and disappointed in that aspect. Not that they didn't do a good job. There's nothing wrong with the movie at all. It's just my personal opinion. I felt that I was just like, really, a Morton Joe? Like, I'm really burnt out on you by now. And how are you guys wearing the same clothes for 40 years? I don't understand. There has to be a new pair of jeans out there somewhere. Like, I know those jeans don't last in the desert for 40 years. There's no way.
How was Chris Hemsworth in this?
Ah,
He seemed very, in the trailers and the bits that I've seen, he seemed very over the top. Like, his character seems like very just boisterous and like ridiculous almost.
for me, Chris Hemsworth's best 3 movies are Cabin in the Woods, because he was supposed to play that. He was a smart guy that
Right.
converts into the jock character, that they're the totem in that role, and Extractions, both the Extraction movies, because he's very serious, but he's actiony and he's having fun. This film, yes, he's hamming it up like crazy, but he's not Thor bad. You can tell that he's just having a great time, having fun, because his wife and his kids are all in the movie. They're filming in Australia, which is his homeland. So he just got to have a great time at home with his family, doing what he loves. And you can tell that coming across in the film, and it's awesome. He does act, and he does almost as good as a job as he did in Bad Times at El Royale as a villain. But he does a great job fitting into this timeline, and so I really enjoyed him for that. I'm not hearing he wore those pants for 40 years, though. Anyway. Go see it in the big theater. It deserves to be seen in the big theater. Unless you have like the 101 or 500-inch screen TV at home theater, unless you're one of those rich people that can do that, I'd say go see it at home. Go see it on IMAX. Go see it in the Regal 4G format or 4D format, whatever. So this is one of those movies where you want to go see in the theater with a group of friends and just have fun with.
So don't watch it on my phone.
Don't watch it on your phone. No. You know those commercials you see in front of it, it's like, you can watch it on this size screen when you can watch it on, But this movie, you want to do that. I personally am done with the Morton Joe storyline. I want to see more of the Mad Max stories going on, what happened over here, and,
his travel stories, like
right,
how the originals were.
Right. If you're going to give me a backstory, tell me how he got his car back. If that's really Mad Max that we grew up with, if that's really the Mel Gibson Mad Max that we knew of, that we're seeing in Fury Road, then tell me how he got his car back. If you want to do a backstory. If not, then that's fine. Tell me another story with him. But I don't want to see any Morton Joe anymore. I'm done with that. Personally. Otherwise, it was an awesome film.
Well, it sounds like it's worth watching.
Yeah. Again, big screen. It deserves the big screen.
I'll definitely have to check that one out. I was pretty excited. I actually kind of like the Morton Joe, and I like that timeline though. I think one more or even 2 more films wouldn't be that bad. I was really looking for, because I like it when Chris Hemsworth really hams it up. A lot of people hated, what was it, Love and Thunder?
Yeah.
Because of how cheesy in it. I absolutely loved it because I found it hilarious. Sometimes I need just mindless entertainment, which is actually a good segue into where we're going from this. Every now and then you every now and then you need mindless entertainment because there's so much stuff going on in the world.
You need an Argyle.
Yeah, exactly. Or Boy Kills World.
You need a Boy Kills World.
Everybody needs a Boy Kills World.
We should talk about that.
Well, that will lead into, movies are part of, this month being Men's Mental Health Awareness. Everybody has issues. Everybody. Nobody in this world's perfect, which is crazy because I never had them until I never had any kind of stress, anxieties, depression, anything. That would have been like the 6th grade.
I'm the reason he has all these problems now.
I didn't have any of that until after my dad passed. Before that, nothing affected me. I just wouldn't, and that's not a good thing. I mean, things that didn't affect me definitely in a negative way. It was that I think something that's attributed to our generation, to the whole Gen X, where everything was just buried, where I felt nothing. I didn't allow anything to bother me, or just I didn't even acknowledge um, any kind of discomfort or stress or anything like that until, like I said, until after my father passed, and a lot of that was the fact that I had to be the strong one for my mom. I mean, my parents, my dad was 70, I think it was 70 when he passed. And my parents had been together since high school. So, you know, they got married on my mom's 18th birthday. So it was a lot for my mom. And it was a lot of, like, she had a real hard time with it. So dealing with it, really put a lot of stress on me, and then I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and a lot of pressure at work. I had a lot of responsibilities, and it was just all piled on. And then just I found different ways to deal with it. I found some very unhealthy ways. At first, there was a whole lot of drinking. I will be one that's I was definitely
Jim Beam would call him up and be like, "Do you need a delivery?"
Yeah, there was a whole lot of drinking for a very long time. But then I really dove into the toy groups and toy collecting, and that's where the term for me of toy therapy comes in, because it started off with me collecting GI Joes and old school Star Wars stuff, and it was mainly vehicles and playsets, because when I was little, I couldn't put them together, so it would be stuff my father would put together for me, and it just kind of reminded me of him. And then I really dove into the toy scene and met some really cool people, and just went through like years of using that as a form of relaxation. I had my garage was like a man cave where I had a bunch of toys, and I wasn't the kind that would sit there and play with it. Some people are, and that's what works for them. Some people like to do action figure photography or different things.
Dioramas.
Dioramas, cool stuff. I just kind of like looking at them and remembering the story of when I got them originally when I was a kid. So that's one way that they would help me with, and one way that I would deal with the mental health issues in a much more healthy way than the drinking.
Richard back in the day used to be, he still is. He was always like the sounding board or the yoke, or he was always somebody we could always rely on, either having our backs or just being there and being the voice of reason for all of us. And so, when all this stuff started happening with him and we started seeing him becoming more emotional, more vulnerable, it allowed us to realize, okay, well, shit, he's a man too and a human being. And he may have seen it like, as a hard thing to deal with, but for his friends, it showed us that he was vulnerable and he was human like us, and it made me at least feel like more relatable, or more human, and that I felt like he could understand my problems better, and so I was able to open up a lot more to him because of that. So I'm sorry that it happened to you, but
honestly, like I said, it was a good thing, because the way I had dealt with it, when you just bury things and pretend they don't exist, that's creating just it's festering inside. It's literally rotting inside of you.
You bury everything until you bury the one thing you love the most, and then everything else just becomes unburied. Because you got to make room for the one love. I personally, for those of you who've been paying attention, the past couple of weeks I haven't put out a podcast or a PanelCast or anything like that, because I've been dealing with some really dark stuff myself. I deal with mental health issues on a daily basis, along with physical issues as well. So when you see that happens, if you don't see any updates or anything coming from me, video wise, just because I can't be in front of a camera right now, because I can't put on the mask. I can't find a way to smile or be happy in that moment, and so I can't project that from me. So that's just me dealing with those issues. And so when that happens and you see that happen, just know that that's what I'm dealing with at the time. But I always come back. One way or another, I find my way back. And I've been dealing with that my entire life. Just depression and all that stuff. My catalyst, I guess, happened to me when I was 6 years old. And my parents got divorced and everything went downhill from there. So, I've been dealing with that, and I've had tragedy left and right in my life that I've had to fight. My son passed away, my father passed away, my grandparents passed away. I was homeless. I've had my apartment burned down. I've had everything taken from me, given back, and fought to get back one piece at a time my entire life. I've fought for everything I've had right now, and I'm damn proud of what I have. And I will continue to fight for it, but it is not an easy road, man. It has not been an easy road, and some say they get stronger on the other side. Man, it hurts, and sometimes I just wish it didn't hurt anymore. You know what I mean? And that's what the toys, that's where they come in, because I can just sit there in front of my TV with my Transformers, and that's what I've been doing for 2 weeks now. And with Transformers, transforming all of them and watching as the brain empties out, and all I can think of in my head is like, all right, well, this is how the leg goes. Why isn't the leg going that way? I don't want the leg to go that way. Why isn't it going? Spudger. That's how it goes. Okay, and now we can get over, and that's how I work out my frustration, not just with the figure, but in my life too. Figuring out that transformation allows me to, so that makes that simple. Why can't I figure this? You know what? If I did this, awesome. You know what I mean? So it's like one opens the door to the other for me. And it clears my head to allow me to think clearly for something else. And so that's what I use. That's what my toy therapy is. Richard used to have a man cave in his garage. My garage is my man cave. It's my office. I have over 300 Transformers in there. I have so many computers and monitors and everything in there that's just ridiculous. If someone breaks into my house, I'm screwed.
Well, now I have a half a man cave.
And so, and again, fought inch by inch, by centimeter, just to have that for myself. And I'm 51 and I barely got here. You know what I mean? But without friends, without figures, and without this way of helping me cope, I would not be here today. And so,
and it's never too late to take a step forward. It's never too late. Number one, to realize that you have issues. It's not weak, and that's one. AJ knows throughout most of my life, I was literally, what you would refer to as the strong silent type. I didn't talk about emotions. I never talked about anything like that. And I would be there for people. I was definitely someone that was there to listen or had somebody's back, but I couldn't relate to a lot of things because I just buried everything. And like I said, it was an unhealthy way. When I was younger, there was a lot of drinking. There was a lot of violence. Lots of violence. There's a reason I started bouncing at such a young age. I at one point when I was younger, I did enjoy the fights. And
who doesn't enjoy a good bar brawl every now and then? Come on.
But it's not a healthy way to deal with anything. And it's affected pretty much every relationship I've had in my life. From friends to actual relationships to, even the way I was with my parents. I can think about plenty of times when I was just completely unruly and just messed up to my parents when I was younger. So, it's never too late to take a step forward. Some people therapy works. I went to a rehab for alcoholism and alcohol and drugs. And I did not do well in the group setting. It did not work for me at all.
Did you see it as weakness, being weak in front of people?
I think so. It wasn't comfortable. I couldn't open up. It was just not. It wasn't good for me. When I went to one-on-one, it helped a lot. And then from the one-on-one, I was able to do small groups of like 4 and 5 people. When I was in the small groups, I was able to open up and be able to really start to let go. So it's finding what works for you. And some people don't need therapy. Some people do, some people don't. Like, it's just whatever works for you in a healthy way. And getting that out there and realizing that it's not weakness, and it's also not easy. It's not. It's a journey. Everybody slides back. Everybody has issues. There's days when you just don't want to get up out of bed. There's days where, you're just so stressed, you just want to bang your head against the wall. It's just making those, like, sometimes in the middle of the night, AJ or I will text each other, "Hey, what are you doing?" And we'll just talk about,
no reason.
Yeah, just talk about movies or something, because maybe something dark was creeping in, and the easiest way to get it out is to talk to somebody else. Maybe you're not talking.
Maybe you just want to hear another voice in your head that isn't yours.
And it's just a way to, and that's what, sadly enough, that's what social media was really created for, and it's gone completely in the wrong direction. Like, it's gone to causing more anxiety and depression than it has to help. And that's really, really sad. I'm the person that just really doesn't care what people have to say. So that doesn't bother me, but I can see how definitely it would affect people. And it's messed up, man. You never know what somebody's going through, and you don't know how your words might be, and even if you say it as a joke, it could push somebody over the edge. Imagine how horrible you feel if you caused somebody to harm themselves. And maybe I don't mean, like, I just mean harm themselves in any way. Like, if something that you say as a joke that you think's funny, or, I mean, it's better, just don't say it. It's just better off. Like, we live in a world where what you say, and if you put it out there in the world, it's there forever. It doesn't go away. I mean, you see stuff that celebrities say 10 years ago pop up out of nowhere because people are, trying to bring them down or whatever.
And then you end up running the whole DC universe.
I mean, at one time or another in our lives, 90% of us have said something stupid that we regret, that was deplorable, that was harmful to multiple people, that was mean, we grew up as kids with your mama jokes, with racist jokes, with all kinds of stuff, and that stuff it's not okay today. And you know what? We
all wore Bruce Lee shoes.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not okay today for a reason, because it wasn't okay then. We just didn't know any better.
And there's a difference between jokes between friends and jokes between other people. You may think, like, Richard and I will joke around about stuff that's cool between us, but I can't say that stuff to another person thinking it'll be funny to them, because it's not. They don't understand. They don't know me.
Right.
So you got to be careful with that too.
And we do live in a society where people say that, comedians can't say jokes anymore. And there is some truth to that. We do live, I've always said, things go, like, when we were kids, you used to, like, you would get beat in a store. And when I say beat, I mean literally, like where it was assault, beaten in a store. And people would not say anything. Now you can't raise your...
People will hand you a switch.
Right. Now you can't... like, if you raise your voice at a kid, they're calling CPS. So it went from one extreme to the other. It just needs to get to the middle.
Right.
Obviously, people need to be able to discipline their children. And I don't mean physically. I mean be able to discipline their children. And whatever it works. I mean, some people... I'm not going to get into that. That's not...
That's a whole other episode.
But I mean, in general, to discipline your children, tell them they're doing something wrong, whatever it is, whether it's giving them a timeout, whatever it is, but within reason, where it's not physically harmful to them, where you're not, like,
not scarring.
Not exactly, where you're not scarring, but also, it's nobody's business when it comes to you doing something that's not harmful to the child. and we went from, like I said, one extreme to another. We went to where jokes, somebody says a joke, and it's like, oh, you can't say that. Well, what it comes down to is the intent. If the intent is to make people laugh, then I feel that that's a joke. If the intent is to hurt somebody's feelings or to call out any group of people or person in general, then that's just picking on somebody. That's mean. That's
bullying.
That's exactly. It's bullying. That's not a joke. So I mean, but it's also society needs to figure out where the line is, and that's where we are now. I feel we're a little too extreme, and it just needs to ease up a little and find a common ground.
Like this podcast,
right? Like, but that's everything. That's everything in life. I mean, you gotta figure out where you stand, right?
I also wanted to address something that some people may be curious about. As you can see, ain't nothing wrong with Richard and I. There's no problems going on here. There's no breakup or anything like that. Richard is doing a solo one with his Chaos Customs, and I'll be doing solo ones with the PanelCast, and then we'll still come together with our other shows. We're not separating. We're not breaking apart anything. We're just trying to gain more audience members by doing different ventures with our stuff.
Yeah, it's like we said, like I said, it's finding where you stand, and I've noticed that the podcast gets more attention when I talk about the customs, when I bring forward things, like this.
Show off. He's just showing off now.
Yes, when I show off, and people.
Nemesis Enforcer.
And I feel action figure and toy customization is something, a community that's really starting to grow, and we might as well be on the ground floor of it. AJ and I will still get together a couple times a month. We'll talk about wrestling. We'll talk about movie reviews. Still do stuff like that, but once again, it's trying to grow the audience for both companies.
Right. I'm going to start doing either transforming figures and stuff online, or just random venting movie review stuff. I might bring back the side panel just to do movie reviews, because I'm going to start going to movies every week again like I used to.
The side panel kept me from having to go watch movies I didn't want to watch.
See? It helps some people. The one listener right here, my fan, is telling me. But that's how we're going to be going. It's nothing. We'll still be doing this stuff, so it's not a big deal. We didn't break up. We still love each other. Our honeymoon is coming up soon. I don't know where we're going. But
where we can afford to go right down the street.
Hopefully somewhere romantic, like Red Robin or something. I also want to throw a quick notice out there. Anthony White, my friend, our friend, your birthday. Happy birthday, my brother. I love you, and I hope you're having a wonderful time, and I hope you have a good birthday, sir.
I hope you actually listen to this podcast.
I know, but I hope you do something worth it that day. You've been a great friend to me, and I really appreciate it. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Anthony.
Woo!
Haven't seen you in forever.
Everybody else can suck it.
Whoa. That's a little aggressive. But, like, once again, like, with the whole mental health thing, that's the other thing. Like, this podcast. It's venting. It's us talking about wrestling, us talking about movies, whatever it is. It's another way just to... It's a distraction, because sometimes you just don't want to think about the bad things that is going on in life, and everybody's going through it. We're in one of the worst economic times in our country's history. Everybody's having a hard time. People can't afford groceries. People can't afford rent. Our utilities are insane. We have an ex-president that just got freaking convicted of, what was it, 34
felony counts.
However, let's be real. I'm sure many more politicians need to be convicted of a bunch of crimes too.
We're not going to get political on this podcast.
That's just
We're just stating fact.
They're just all criminals. Left, right, criminal. Anyway, but
which is going to be a new movie coming out. I'm excited for
Left, right, criminal.
No, Criminal. The comic book by Edward Brubaker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's coming out. Ryan Gosling just got cast in it. It's going to be awesome. But they need to make a Nice Guys sequel.
You know what I just watched? I totally forgot. I just watched Civil War the other day.
Oh, how was it?
So it's definitely not what I expected. Much like what was it, Late Night with the Devil?
Mm-hmm.
It's not very similar. It's not what you expect, but it's done almost in a documentary style. It follows these journalists that are going through the Civil War happening, and it's pretty much follows their journey. So it's not taken like it's not a war movie or this side. It's their experiences going in different through traveling, and it comes from a completely different, basically an outside view. It's actually I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think it's done really well.
It's from I haven't seen it, but I am a huge fan. One of my favorite comic books out there is DMZ by Brian Wood. It is one of the
The
few
show
comic
did
books
it no justice whatsoever.
that it's one of the few comic books where at the end of the comic book I was crying in public, having read it. And the writer said that he watched Civil War and said, "Now that's the movie that I wanted to see my comic book based, to be based off my comic book." Not the TV show that we got on HBO, but this is the movie that should have been based off my comic book.
Oddly enough, so the DMZ TV show is what I thought the Civil War movie was going to be. So yeah, it's told from a complete outside perspective. You're going with these journalists. Like it's not really documentary style, but it's like I said, like I absolutely loved Late Night with the Devil. That movie is
Right.
I don't see like so many people. I think they don't really understand how awesome that movie is, and just you have to catch the little nuances about it. And this is very similar in that.
And well, you have to be in the time period. You have to put
Right.
your brain in that time period in order to understand it. And same with I'm sure Civil War. You got to put your brain in that environment. It's one of the things I loved about Cloverfield. Everybody hates Cloverfield. But
I love Cloverfield.
I love Cloverfield because it put you in that place.
Yeah.
You were running from this monster. You were living in this experience. So, of course, this is how it's going to be. Scatterbrained all over the place. You're not going to be able to follow a thing. And that's what I loved about it. So I'm excited to see Civil War.
Oddly enough, I love Cloverfield except for one part. One part, it nags me, and I bring it up every time I bring up Cloverfield. And that's when the head of the Statue of Liberty goes rolling down the street.
Because it's small?
Yes, because it wouldn't fit to roll down the street. I've been inside the head of the Statue of Liberty. It's bigger than a street. Like, it fit in between the sidewalks.
You don't know. Maybe Cloverfield would, crank, and then they rolled it down the street. Then she went bowling. You don't know.
It's copper. It just crushed it.
Yeah, right. I'm here to recycle my Statue of Liberty head. Can I get 5 cents a pound?
But yeah, it definitely. I enjoyed it. I can see why some people were disappointed in it, because if you go in and you're looking for, some people, every now and then I like war movies. I like mindless, violence, boy kills world, with almost no plot.
If you haven't seen that movie, watch it. It is fantastic.
It is.
It reminds me of the part in Hot Shots Part 2 where Ryan Stiles is sitting there and he's like, oh, no, Miguel Fuhrer, when he's like, war, it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what Boy Kills World is.
But, so it seems like it doesn't have a plot until you get to the very end, and then you go, oh, crap. There's been a very intricate plot this whole movie.
It's all old boy. Turns all old boy on you.
Yeah. It's another one that's great, and that's one thing. Once again, going back to it, that's something. Movies like that are what I enjoy as mindless entertainment. I'll throw them on. They're in the background. Maybe you're not paying 100% attention to it, but it distracts you from whatever's going on in the world. It distracts you from whatever's stressing you.
That's what movies are supposed to be, a break from reality. Civil War may not be a break from reality. It might be a fortune-telling movie, but I thought, from what I heard, it's supposed to be similar to what World War Z should have been, based off the book.
Similar to what the book is. That's because the book is a collection of stories of people's experiences.
I heard somebody go through. Now I know we're running on a tangent here, and I apologize for that, guys. But
we do it all the time.
Yeah, we do it all the time, and I have to leave soon. But
we have to make up for that area. We got to cut out anyway.
I saw a guy on TikTok talking about World War Z, and how much of an atrocity the movie was. And if you haven't read the books based off the movie, or based off the book, movie, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't read the book, then you really need to read the book, because Max Brooks did a great job with it.
Amazing.
It's a journalist. The audiobook. Listen to the audiobook, because it's actually a stage play.
It's one of the best audiobooks there is. It's like it's on par with the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, the unabridged ones, because they are stage plays.
It's different voice actors playing out roles. It's Mark Hamill, Jürgen Prochnow, Alan Alda, a whole bunch of voice actors playing a role. And what it is Max Brooks is a journalist, and the zombie apocalypse has happened, and what he wants to do is figure out where the origins came from, where the first sightings of the zombies were, and what have you. So as a journalist, he travels all over the world, and he goes to and finds out, like, well, what was the first sighting here? What was the first sighting here? How did this happen? And he goes on all these adventures with all these different crews, military, civilians, all that, scientists, and he finds out where the origin of the zombie apocalypse started. And it's phenomenal. The stories are so intricate and so real. It's scary.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing about it. It's a collection of stories.
The radio play plays out like Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, where you almost think it's kind of real. Like, you know, like it could be a legit radio show coming over the air when this is happening. And if you haven't had a chance, go watch it. But the movie paid no justice to it whatsoever.
Oh, the movie was just a zombie movie.
Yeah, it was Brad Pitt with his production crew having fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's an entertaining zombie movie. I enjoyed the movie.
As a movie, it was cool.
As an independent movie, it's a cool zombie movie, but it's nothing like the source material. But then again, a lot of times, they're nothing like... Yeah, movies are never like the book.
Running Man.
No.
Though they're remaking it based off the book. I'm excited.
I mean... I'm hoping it's closer to the book, but we'll see. I mean, anyway, that's kind of our journey for today.
That's our show of randomness. And
it's random. Well, I mean,
mental health.
It's really what it is. It's all the distractions that we use. Literally, we just talked. The only thing we didn't talk about was wrestling. You know, it's all the distractions we use to get by.
Just kidding.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about, really. I don't think so.
I'm not impressed.
I mean, we talk about how Adam Copeland broke his own leg. But anyway.
He wanted a vacation.
And on that note.
I want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode. Thanks, everybody, for all your responses, all your likes. Please like, share, subscribe. Find us find me at forbiddenpanel.com. You can find me all over on Instagram, social media, everywhere. You can even find this podcast on iTunes and iHeartRadio and Spotify and YouTube. And you have no excuse not to find me. Like, we're everywhere. It's ridiculous.
And you can find me at kscollectibles.com. That's kscollectibles with a K.com. And pretty much on every social media, I post our links all the time. Our links are wherever you're looking at this. You'll find the links in the bio. We're everywhere. We're pretty much on any platform that's out there. You know, you can join our OnlyFans.
You don't want to say that.
Actually, sadly, I used to have one. When it first started, and it was just for when we went to conventions and stuff. I was going to start live streaming them, and that just kind of went away because we stopped doing conventions.
He thought he was going to be the only fan.
No, well, it's literally when it first started, and then it got weird, and I'm like, oh well, I won't be doing this. So, but anyway,
funny thing is, he was working at a strip club at the time.
It's true. So anyway, you can find us on everything, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Once again, share, like, subscribe, comment, anything to keep.
Comments,
It helps the algorithm. We want to keep it out there. KS Customs is going to be about half of the show. We're like about twice a month. The focus will be on customs. Every now and then I put just random tips out there, painting tips and different tutorials out there for people too. Like I said, action figure and toy customization is something that's really taken off, and I want to be on the ground floor, and it's something that I use for my mental health. So,
and then maybe once a month, depending how payday goes, we might go out and get some food trucks.
Yeah. So we'll still do a lot of stuff. Like I said, probably twice a month we'll do these, and then there's also his PanelCast, the big group that we still do.
You're gonna want to watch it. We'll be on next week. We're gonna be talking about the Acolyte and reviewing that. So.
Bradshaw and Farouk?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. The APA.
So what you're telling me is I need to watch the Acolyte.
Right.
All right.
At 6 o'clock today, which is 2 hours from now.
I thought you said it came out last night.
I was wrong.
Oh, good thing I didn't stay
happens.
up. Good thing I didn't stay up. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for your support, and stay classy.
Night.